This is Legally Golf, where we mix law, pop culture, and the occasional chaos of real life. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Brooke Goff, lawyer, businesswoman, and professional truth teller. Buckle up, this isn't your grandma's legal podcast. If you grew up in the 2000s, this man needed no introduction. From breaking hearts on Desperate Housewives to literally being the blueprint for toxic boyfriends and John Tucker Must Die, Jesse Metcalfe is in the building. Okay, so I am so excited for this one. I don't know to call you Jesse or John. Which are we going to do?
I played a lot of Johns.
Yeah,
yes.
well, exactly. And, it's funny because, and we're going to talk about this a little more, do you feel like your characters follow you throughout life? Like if people come up to you, do they call you Jesse or do they call you John? Or
They call me John Tucker an awful lot. So yes, they do follow me.
I mean, that was a favorite role for all of us.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I'm very proud of, obviously, that John Tucker Must Die sort of stood the test of time and been passed down through the generations. It's just a kind of small teen comedy that sort of found its place in the zeitgeist and is kind of iconic in a way, and then Desperate Housewives also has some serious iconic TV status. So, those are two projects that sort of, formed my whole career and some stuff that I'm really proud to have been a part of.
I will tell you, they are definitely iconic. They're not kind of iconic.
Thank you.
I will tell you, so I graduated high school. I mean, 2005. So that was like my time, right? And the John Tucker Must Die stuff everybody was into it and watching, and we were all kind of living that life. Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but okay. I want to talk about Connecticut because, so obviously we're in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Tiny little Connecticut that gets no credit for anyone. But we deserve credit for Jesse Metcalfe, for some of Jesse Metcalfe's life, right?
Well, I mean, it's nice to hear that you want to take credit for Jesse Metcalfe. We're going to
take credit. Connecticut's going to take credit, yeah. Okay. So talk to me about your Connecticut background. What are your connections to Connecticut?
Well, I grew up here. I went to multiple elementary schools in Waterford and New London. I went to college. I went to high school at the Williams School, which is a prep school on Connecticut College campus in New London. Then I went to New York University to study film and television, directing and acting. But I'm a kind of small town Connecticut boy. I lived in Waterford. I lived in Uncasville. I lived in Norwich. I lived in New London. I mean, I kind of, lived all over.
Very small town, too. It's not like you're saying Stamford and Norwalk and Bridgeport.
Not at all. Yeah. I mean, this was small town, suburban Connecticut. It was pretty idyllic, though. I mean, I had a pretty, you always have your trials and tribulations as a child or as a teenager. But for the most part, I had a pretty great childhood. I actually lived for a large period of my childhood. I lived on Oswegatchie Road. I don't know if you've heard of this road.
Never heard of that road in my life.
It was right on the water.
Oh, awesome.
in Waterford, and I did what adolescent boys do. Just kind of like we rode our bikes all the time and just kind of enjoyed the area. It's a beautiful state. It really is.
We love Connecticut, so it's great to have your endorsement for our little state too. I want to talk to you a little bit about when you knew you wanted to go into acting, directing, and you had said you went to school at NYU for acting, directing. When you entered school, which side did you think you wanted to be on?
Okay, well, I really only got into NYU by the skin of my teeth. I was accepted into this new experimental program called the Gallatin School, which was basically you could just make up your own major. And I did a semester there, got good enough grades that I was able to transfer to Tisch and study film and television. Part of that film and television major were some acting classes, but I really wanted to write, direct, and make movies.
Okay, so you didn't really necessarily see yourself as an actor when you went in.
I was entertaining the idea a bit. I did do some. I was a child model, and then I also.
It's a shocker. Real shocker.
And then I also got sort of back into modeling when I was in high school and just getting into college. So it was the thought was in my head that maybe I could do some acting work because I was already sort of doing the modeling thing. But no, I mean the goal was to be a director and make movies.
Okay.
And then I sort of ended up falling into acting. I went to an open casting call for this soap opera called Passions.
Yes. Yep.
Ended up booking that part, dropping out of NYU after my junior year, and sort of the rest is history.
So how do we go from Passions to Desperate Housewives?
Okay, I did 5 years on Passions,
Wow.
which was an amazing training ground. I knew very little about acting or the craft of acting before I got that job on that soap opera. We had an on-set acting coach, so she taught me some technique. It was great for learning and memorizing lines. It was a really wacky show. You know, it had this supernatural storyline in it. You know, it was about a witch terrorizing, you know, these 3 different families in this New England town, this fictional New England town called Harmony. So it was kind of, you know, it was I could relate to some of the storylines on the show, but the show was totally out there and definitely kind of cutting edge, you know, for its time. No soap had ever done things that had like special effects and supernatural elements to it. But after doing 5 years on that show, I felt like I was meant for something bigger, you know. So I left. A lot of my castmates were like, "You're crazy," you know. I was making a really nice living on daytime, but I was like, no, I want to do my first full pilot season, when there was something called a pilot season within our industry, you know, which was a certain few months where you just get bombarded with auditions for all the new shows. And I went through a whole pilot season, which is like a, you know, 2.5 month period of auditioning 3 times a day. And I didn't book anything. And then towards the end of that pilot season, I got the opportunity to test, you know, where they pre-negotiate your deal with the network because they're interested in possibly hiring you. But you have to do these final auditions for the network and for the studio. And I got the opportunity to test for the show called Veronica Mars.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Remember when I graduated?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or I could test for this other show called Desperate Housewives, you know, and after some discussion with my representation, we thought that the Desperate Housewives move might be better, might be a bigger show, have a little bit more longevity. Ended up testing for the show and booking it. What a lot of people don't know is that was actually a recast. They had someone else cast in the role of John Rowland the Gardener before me. I don't really remember his name.
You are John Rowland.
right.
There's
now.
nobody else that can play John Rowland's part.
He was only in the pilot, you know, a pilot which
Sure.
never aired, you know, and then they reshot those scenes. So.
I have no idea how they could put anybody else in that seat except you. You were the part. Like, that's the thing, right? So it's your first big break, would you consider to be Desperate Housewives?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you ever think, so obviously you're explaining how you got it and you had to choose between these 2 shows. I definitely, now looking back, we all know you made the right decision, right? Veronica Mars versus Desperate Housewives. I mean, the Desperate Housewives was all you. So my question though becomes, did you think that it would have such a big impact on your career when you took it?
No, I really didn't know what was in store for me because to me it just seemed like another soap opera. It seemed like
hear that.
It seemed like
Yeah.
a primetime soap opera. I was like, okay, well, I can definitely do this. You know?
It's just at night instead of during the day. Yeah.
But it hit. You know, after that pilot episode aired, it was kind of crazy. You know, it was like an instant hit. Yeah.
But they hooked you up too, because sometimes you see these shows and the women or the men that the affair is with, right, is not the best looking. You're kind of like, what are they thinking? I mean, Eva Longoria, like. You literally, I would say, for the show, hit the jackpot. That's my opinion for you, right?
I did hit the jackpot.
Hit the jackpot.
Absolutely.
So intimidating on screen. So I can only imagine. We'll get into how she was to work with, not on screen. But I have so many questions. And I have questions I'm going to ask you, because you've shot sex scenes for TV.
Right.
And we all wonder, women can control, like you're acting, right? Fine. Uh-huh. How do you control, you know, malfunctions? Like, how does that not happen?
There's been some malfunctions.
I bet there. I mean,
yeah, there's been some malfunctions.
Eva Longoria is you know, whatever.
It's kind of like
on the episode.
when they say cut and they're like, okay, moving on to the next scene. You're like, I think I'm going to need a minute.
Yeah, like I need to go and like have a moment to myself.
Stay right where I'm at.
Oh yeah,
and stay covered up.
Yeah. And I mean, you almost wish in the moment that they probably kind of put you with somebody a little more, I don't know, hit. She is the woman of all women.
We had a great time together.
I can tell.
We had great chemistry. On and off screen, a great friendship. I'm so proud of the career that she's created for herself. Now she's behind the camera doing a lot of producing, a lot of directing. Hopefully I'll get the opportunity to work with her again sometime soon. She's definitely doing big things. And, everyone loves Eva. I mean, that's the reality. She just has one of those personalities that just, she's magnetic.
And she has no scandal, really.
No,
for Hollywood, she's got...
Well, she's more of a martyr than anything.
Yeah. So let's get back to the sex stuff, though, because that's interesting to me. So firstly, how does one... All right, so it's the first sex scene you're shooting, okay? Right. Do you guys, go out to dinner and have a conversation? I mean, do you guys, hook up off screen just to make sure you get,
no, you definitely
how does all
don't
this go
hook
down?
Up off screen beforehand.
Okay. I would just think, maybe that's a let's break the ice.
So, I mean, sometimes you'll hang out and go to dinner and try to break the ice a little bit.
Sure.
And then sometimes you just dive in cold. I mean, this is what we do.
No drink, nothing.
This is acting, yeah. I mean, you got to have... You got to have the cojones, you gotta be brave, and not sort of scared to expose yourself, literally and figuratively. Yeah. But I mean, this is what it's all about. So not everyone's meant to be in front of the camera. Not everyone's meant to be an actor. And
the other piece, again, this will be my last sex scene question for you, although I have many more. These are the ones. My last one would be clearly the way they shoot it makes it look like it's legit. I mean, they did a fantastic job making sure it's legit. But obviously you guys have something in between you. How does that whole piece, I mean, it's not legitimate sex, I assume, correct?
Absolutely not.
Well,
absolutely.
I don't know. I mean,
nowadays, I think there's a lot more, there's an intimacy coordinator now. And there's a lot more of an emphasis on people feeling really comfortable and really safe because, the production doesn't want, anything to go wrong, any possible allegations of any type of impropriety or anything like that. But when I was coming up in the Desperate Housewives days, there was no intimacy coordinator. You just kind of, you winged it with your fellow actor and your scene partner, and you discuss what people are comfortable with. But at a certain point on Desperate Housewives, Eva and I got very comfortable together, So, and I think that comfortability equates to chemistry on screen, and the audience can see that and feel that, and I think that's why that storyline was so popular. And how do you? So there's been some stuff online where they say that some of your castmates would be laughing during the scenes that you guys were shooting, right? Like some of the other castmates. So talk to me about that. I don't know anything about that. There wasn't a whole lot of the other castmates around when we were shooting those scenes. I mean, I basically I shot with Eva and a couple other periphery characters, but my storyline was totally with Eva and also with the actor who played her husband, the character of Carlos. But I don't ever remember any of the other housewives being around when we were shooting. When we were shooting photo shoots, like the sort of infamous Vanity Fair photo shoot, the other housewives were around, and I got the opportunity to interact with them, but I really didn't get to know them very well.
So even though you guys, I mean, all of you, obviously it's all part of the same show, but all of you are there was quite a few seasons that you were on.
Yeah.
Your main, I don't want to say relationship, but just cast relationship was Eva.
Yeah. Oh yeah, completely.
And some of the others you didn't even really get to know that one.
There were so many different storylines, and no, some of the others I probably had one or two conversations with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What was your favorite of all the Desperate Housewives episodes that you shot? What's one that sticks with you that was your favorite?
I think the pilot is like the best episode. I mean, there's just some really, really iconic moments in the pilot, when we do it on the dining room table.
Yeah, that was one.
That pretty much just set off the whole storyline right there. But there was also a moment where I jump out the window, you know, and then Carlos, Gabrielle's husband, comes home, and I sort of pop up in the window with some hedge trimmers, and I'm trimming the hedges, and then the camera like comes out of the house and reveals I have no pants on. Yeah. That I remember that day pretty distinctively because I sort of had wardrobe, like, you know,
all over the place. Yeah,
just making sure you know, everything was where it should be, you know, and it was a little awkward to say the least. Yeah.
Do you still have? I think you've kind of answered this, but how is your relationship with Eva today? I mean, you share this major chemistry on set for quite some time.
Right.
Do you stay in touch? Do you guys still have? I don't like to use the word relationship. Do you guys still have an off-camera relationship now?
We have a great rapport. When we run into each other, we don't see each other that often. Not as much as I'd like. But when we see each other, I mean, Eva has a way of making someone feel very special and important and sort of like the only person in the room, you know, when you're with her and when you run into her. And every time we run into each other, it's really nice.
You know, we were all hoping for that People magazine cover where it came out that you guys decided off screen to have the same relationship that you had on screen, because I think that's all we strive to all of us. But we never saw it. I would say that's the biggest disappointment from Desperate Housewives, is that we all wanted you guys to give it a shot off camera.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
wasn't even aware of that.
Yes. The kind of chemistry you guys, yes, I mean, we get it. There's camera. It's camera, right? We get that. But it was, I would say the one thing that if you talk to viewers of it, that they would say that we were just kind of hoping for, like, even if it was like an Us Weekly, just a fake story, we just wanted to see something. Okay. And they never gave us anything.
All right, so.
But then you go to John Tucker Must Die, which is a movie where, weirdly, women, which I'm sure never happened to you, we're trying to like
completely fictional.
Yeah, yes. Come together and try to break your heart. Like I would think that in your world they would all be fighting over you, but they were just trying to all kind of hurt you a little bit, right?
That was such a fun role for me because I almost got to make fun of a stereotype that I was very well acquainted with growing up here in Connecticut.
Of course.
I mean, basketball is a pretty big sport in Connecticut.
Connecticut is the college basketball capital.
If you're like the basketball star, you're like the most popular guy in school. You're the star of the school.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I modeled that character and that performance after like some real people, you know, that I grew up with, that were like, that I was friends with, that were sort of like the top athletes, you know, in my class. So that was kind of like almost kind of cathartic.
Sure.
To play that role, you know, and probably for a lot of the fans of the movie too, you know, that they could just really relate to that type of guy.
How did you get the role? Like, how does this look? Because I know there's usually a story to everyone. And what did you think of the script when you first got it?
Well, how I got the role is I just got it offered to me by 20th Century Fox. So
somebody really...
One of the executives just basically handed me the role. You know, because Desperate Housewives was such a hot show, and I had a lot of visibility at that time. And I actually really liked the script when I first read it. It was a very well written, tight script. It really didn't need much rewrites or changing, and you know, I felt like it was a role that I could play well. I mean, it wasn't particularly demanding role, although I do feel like I have some comedic moments in the movie that are really great. That not necessarily anyone, you know.
What was your favorite scene to shoot?
That not necessarily anyone could pull off, so yeah.
What was your favorite scene to shoot in the movie?
I thought the scene, I mean, look, it's not very realistic that someone would put estrogen, you know, in your Gatorade. But
it's probably accurate. You would hope not anyways.
Yeah. I mean, but that scene I thought was pretty over the top and hilarious.
The two of my favorite scenes, the volleyball fight.
Yeah.
Were you so I want you to talk to me a little bit about your experience with that, but also the scene with you in the thong.
Okay.
So I know you're coming off of Desperate Housewives, so what's a thong, right? No big deal.
Nothing to me.
Yeah, but let's talk about those two scenes if you don't mind. So the volleyball scene and the thong scene.
Well, I wasn't in the volleyball scene.
But did you get to...
But the volleyball scene's amazing.
Did you get to watch it? Were you like all part of it?
I mean, no, I didn't really watch it film, but I've seen it many times in the movie, and the volleyball scene's great. I mean, look, the entire cast, top to bottom, was exceptional in that movie, and look at how successful everyone is and became. I mean, it's crazy. But you know, our female cast was very, very talented, and that scene sort of that was very relatable too. You know, young women sort of competing with each other in a high school setting. So I mean, I think that scene's hilarious. And as far as the red lace thong scene, that was still pretty intimidating, even though I was coming off Desperate Housewives being basically naked every episode, because we had like 50 kids, 50 extras in a hotel, like lining the halls of this hallway. And you know, when the female when the volleyball coach, you know, for the women's volleyball coach, sort of grabs me by the ear and is pulling me down the hallway, there was a lot of extras. So you know, it was a little nerve-wracking, but you know, again, I mean, as no risk, no reward. I mean, it's kind of an iconic scene.
Do you still have the thong? Did you keep it?
I still have.
Yeah, see, so that was like your icon. That was your token that you took.
One of many, yeah.
So let's talk about like what else.
I mean, I got.
Would you keep from Desperate Housewives?
I don't think I kept anything from Desperate Housewives.
Not even the head trimmers, nothing.
No, I honestly no. I mean, maybe like a couple shirts or something. I mean, I don't know. Nothing really that special. But John Tucker, I mean, you know, actors tend to keep their chair backs. You know, they have like their chair backs with like their name and stuff like that. So I think I have that from Desperate Housewives. But John Tucker Must Die, I have like a couple basketballs. I have my chair back. I have the thong. I have a jersey. I got a.
The thong was the best.
That's the best.
I would have completely kept that too. We talked about, and it is crazy, and I don't think people realize, unless they're in my generation and they were like when the movie like really dropped and was hot, but almost all those actors turned out to do big things.
Yeah.
Brittany Snow. So how was it working with her?
She's great. I mean, it was great. It was easy.
Sure.
She's just a really professional, very solid actor. And I love seeing all the success she's having right now. I mean, she was on like the two biggest shows on Netflix, like basically at the same time.
Have you seen either of them?
Yeah, I know. I've seen a couple episodes of Hunting Wives, and she was also in Beast in Me, you know, which was a great show. So she's killing it right now.
Are you guys still friends?
We're not friends, but you know, people just kind of move in different directions. You know, I got a million things that I'm doing, as I'm sure all of my castmates do. I do see these people from time to time, though. You know, like I saw Ariel Kebble not that long ago. She's on a new show, a Yellowstone spinoff called like Why Marshall. Congratulations to her. She's great. She was actually spearheading the whole conversation and development of John Tucker Must Die too.
Okay, so that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
So when is it going to happen? Because we've heard every 5 years it pokes up out of the ground and then it goes away. Then it pokes up out of the ground. It's like, is it actually going to... You all look amazing. So you could pull it off. It'd be great.
It would be great. Yeah, it would be great. It would be fun. And a lot of people have expressed interest. I don't know how many people are interested now since the last time it was sort of in the press, you know, because it was in the press kind of a couple of years ago, you know, and then it sort of...
Yeah, I would say as recent as a couple of years
ago.
Yeah,
and it sort of stalled out. But, you know, there's an actual script. I've read the script. It's over at 20th Century Fox. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's going to get over the finish line, but we'll see.
So they call you tomorrow and they're like, we're doing this thing, you're in.
Yeah, why not?
Well, you have to be.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I don't know. It's not like, you know, it's like Home Alone.
Yeah.
They have Macaulay Culkin for the first couple, then they change out the kid, and it's like nobody watches it. It's not the same. They have to have all of you guys, or it's not going to work. So
I couldn't agree more.
I think that they need to get on that because now's the time.
I'll let them know.
Yes, please. Now, what is a role that you wanted that you either, I don't know if the proper term is tried out for, or that you auditioned for that you didn't get?
Well, there's so many roles. There's so many roles I've auditioned for and didn't get.
That you really wanted.
One that popped up in the press recently that I was asked about, like, what was a role This is a role that I actually had an audition for and didn't even go on the audition. Blew the audition off because apparently I had better things to do. And that was the show Entourage.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, which I thought could have really worked, for me. I could have definitely played that role as well. Obviously, Adrian Grenier did an incredible job on that show, and that was one of my favorite shows ultimately. But it's funny how you'll read something on paper and not see it.
And I think it probably, wouldn't you agree that it kind of takes a life of its own too? Like when
Absolutely.
you bring your personality in, they're probably having scripts and they're rewriting some of them just by how you're doing.
Definitely.
Any other roles that you can think of that you wanted that you auditioned for that you didn't get?
There's more roles I've auditioned for and didn't get than did get, So the list is endless. Off the top of my head, oh, geez. There was a TV miniseries about Elvis that I really wanted to get at the time. Ultimately, the role went to Jonathan Rhys Meyers. You remember that actor?
Of course, I know. Yeah,
very talented actor.
What is his name? He played the King of in the King of England. That right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tudors.
The Tudors.
Yeah, there
exactly.
it is. Yeah.
And he ultimately ended up doing a spectacular job. He's like a fair-haired Englishman, so he was really playing a character there.
Sure.
But I've always thought I resembled Elvis a little bit, and thought that would have been a fun role to play.
There was one where you were. There was one role that I read about. You were going to be a vampire too, right? They didn't give it to you.
Well, I auditioned for Vampire Diaries. That's a whole other story in and of itself. I remember being in the waiting room while Ian Somerhalder was auditioning for the lead of Vampire Diaries, and he was in there a long time. And I was like, "This looks like it's going pretty well for Ian Somerhalder."
Sure.
And then finally, I got in there and I auditioned, and then we did it a few times. They gave me some adjustments, and then the executive says to me in the room, she goes, "You're never going to be a vampire." She said, "You just have too nice of a face. I just can't see you as a vampire."
I can see you with fangs.
Thank you. And I was literally like, wow, like what a thing to say to a young actor in the audition room. I was like, well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for having me.
Backhanded compliment, I guess, right? You have worked with some serious stars over your career. Out of everyone you work with, who would you say was the most intimidating for you? Like you go show up on set day one. Who's the most intimidating?
Well, I got the opportunity to star opposite Michael Douglas, who was one of my acting heroes growing up. I absolutely loved all of his performances and all of his movies. So that was a big moment for me, a thrilling moment, but also I was very intimidated. But he really put me at ease, was just super kind and very professional. And honestly, it was kind of a masterclass in acting. The guy was incredible. He would nail it on the first take every time. But obviously I've also worked with Sylvester Stallone and Bruce Willis. It's funny. Sometimes some of these older actors, they want you to be intimidated. It's almost like a little bit of a power struggle or something. And you can come on the set, just with the best intentions and totally humble and gracious and still get belittled. It happens,
So a hot show right now that I'm hoping they call you for is Landman. Have you seen this?
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan he's incredible. His story is just unbelievable that he was like an acting coach, and now he's like one of the biggest TV creators, if not the biggest in the business right now. So yeah, he's an impressive guy.
Cooper is the only one that I'm kind of confused about the casting of that part.
Okay.
You would have been an awesome Cooper.
Thank you.
You would have been dirty.
Thank you.
And, kind of, but
Yeah, I
Billy
like
Bob
that.
Thornton is amazing. So
Incredible.
if I had to say in anything, I would say they need to call you and we
Okay.
need to cast a spot
Thank you.
around you. That
Thank you.
cast is amazing. Have you seen the show?
I have, yeah. The show's great.
So you had said Yellowstone. So I never saw Yellowstone. So I haven't seen the new one that's coming out yet either. But Landman it's like kind of like a takeover right now with Paramount. And when I was prepping for this, I had said to myself, I'm like, that's where he needs to go. They need to put him in Landman. Is that like, how do you feel about those kind of roles though? Like the Western roles?
I love those
Billy
type of
Bob
roles.
Thornton?
I love those type of roles. I'd be totally down for that. I mean, my first foray into a somewhat Western role was Dallas, was the reboot of Dallas. And on the reboot, I got the opportunity to learn how to horseback ride from a rodeo champion, and
awesome.
Absolutely fell in love with horseback riding. I mean, I feel like I have a bit of a Southern flair to me, even though I'm anything but that, being a Connecticut boy who went to college in New York City,
Sure.
who lives in LA. And I love those worlds, especially the worlds that Taylor Sheridan creates. I love the opportunity to be a part of.
So Sheridan needs to call you, and we'll be season 3 of Landman. That cast is amazing, and
definitely
you and Billy Bob Thornton would be awesome together. I
love
think.
Billy Bob.
I mean,
Huge fan.
Yeah, have you met him?
No, I've never met him.
Even better. It'd be
He's
perfect.
amazing.
I want to talk about you a little bit as an entrepreneur. So in a lot with the podcast is I am an entrepreneur. I built the firm, and I like to talk to people who not only have one identity, your identity is in acting and all of this, but also the entrepreneur piece of things, because many actors are also entrepreneurs in their own right. But you've actually created a business, and I think that people should know what that business is, and I want to talk to you about it because it's a skincare line, right? Talk to me about it.
Okay, well,
Sell me, my friend.
All right, well, I launched a skincare line. It's called Neutrl Skin.
N-U-T-R-L, okay?
N-U-T-R-L Skin, spelled phonetically. It's a gender-neutral, uber clean skincare line. No silicones, no parabens, no fragrances. It's lab grade. Right now, it's only 4 products. Okay, so we have a daily exfoliating cleanser that uses glycolic acid to exfoliate. Okay. Also has hyaluronic acid and some great botanicals in it, like eucalyptus and aloe vera.
Awesome.
Really great cleanser. Leaves your skin, it has a little tingle to it, leaves your skin feeling really clean but not stripped. Then we have a purifying vitamin C serum. It's 20% L-ascorbic acid. Vitamin C serums are great. This is a really high quality one. And then this is sort of our hero product. It's the anti-aging under eye serum. It's got 2 peptide complexes in it. One's called argireline, which relaxes muscle tension in the face. It's known as Botox in a bottle or natural Botox. And then we have Neutrl 3000, which is a cell signaling peptide that signals the fibroblast cells in your skin to produce more collagen, up to 350% more collagen. And then this is the Restoring Moisturizer. Restoring Moisturizer has hyaluronic, also has argireline in it. It's a really hydrating, anti-aging product line. It's a unisex product line, gender, hence the name Neutrl. It's gender neutral. And it's kind of been, we're D2C, we're direct to consumer, but it's really been selling, thanks to the support that I've gotten from a lot of different people within the industry, a lot of influencers, a lot of tastemakers, been on multiple television appearances on Good Morning America, on The View. So, yeah.
Talk to me about the story behind it, though. So you're not just an actor that's like, hey, I'm going to create a skincare line. Why a skincare line?
Well, I battled acne as a teenager and also as an adult in my early 20s when I first got into the industry. And, through the process of trying to, overcome my acne and get clear skin, I tried a lot of products. So I became acquainted with a lot of the topicals that are sort of industry standards, like glycolic acid, like hyaluronic acid. So I took my knowledge from battling acne and also from being, in front of the camera for, 25 plus years and interacting with various different makeup artists and getting gifted every product under the sun. And I decided, this would be a good extension of my brand, and that I could create a skincare line that was for everybody, that sort of cut through the noise of an increasingly cluttered skincare market that's basically all about different marketing drivers and packaging. I wanted to create something that was simple, that girlfriends and boyfriends, husbands and wives, girlfriends and girlfriends could share, that everybody could share, that it's great for all skin types. And took me over 2 years to formulate these products, So I took some of these industry standard topicals and I added some really cutting edge peptides, the argireline and the Metcalfe 3000 that I mentioned to you. Did some clinical trials and brought it to market, and luckily, people have really been responding to it. People actually love the product line. It's also a subscription model.
So how's your subscription numbers? The people order one.
Yeah.
Are they renewing?
Yeah, they're really good. Our retention rate's amazing, and we're gaining subscribers every day.
What was more difficult for you? Breaking into acting or breaking into being an entrepreneur?
Look, I got lucky breaking into acting. So, breaking in wasn't that difficult. The difficult part is staying on top, and that's the hard part, maintaining a career, maintaining relevance, and that's maybe part of the reason why, I started this brand.
Sure.
I think it's like, you're not necessarily in control of your destiny within the entertainment industry. So you have to just keep pushing forward and evolving, adapting, pivoting sometimes, So I pivoted to entrepreneurship, and, it's been actually really rewarding. I mean, I love talking about my product. I love doing all these appearances, and I think that one thing benefits the other. I mean, people see you as someone who's intelligent, who's successful, who's building a brand. That's good press,
I assume you use the product, right?
I use the product every day.
So, I mean, what's better than saying girlfriends? If you want your boyfriend to look like you, get him the product, right? I mean,
there you go.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
I would assume that it's because you're using great lines like yours. So that's great.
Thank you.
Last question for you.
Okay.
We know you for all the roles you've played, but nobody knows you. If you can describe yourself in 3 words, what would it be? And you can't say good looking as one of them.
It's funny that you asked me that question.
Sure.
Because we live in a day and age right now with social media where people are really letting it all hang out on social media. I mean, they're showing you every facet of your life. And when I came up in the business, that was a big no-no. As an actor, you were supposed to give as little as possible. You were supposed to maintain your mystique.
Yeah.
And I've since transitioned in my career to share a lot more on social media, because it's a massive revenue stream, and you can really control your image on social media. But I still don't really give that much.
Sure.
I still don't. I'm still not fully comfortable with it, despite the amount that I post. And I post a lot.
Sure.
So I would say the things that maybe people don't know about me is I'd like to think I'm pretty intelligent. I'm pretty well read. I think I have a depth and complexity to me that the roles that I played haven't really showcased. A lot of the roles that I played have been, sort of matinee idols, to use a pretty old term. They've been a little fluffy, and I hope that this next chapter in my career brings some roles that have a lot more depth to them and a lot more complexity. And I think those roles do come, especially to guys in the business, when in their later 40s, in early 50s. So I'm there and I'm ready for those challenges. But yeah, if I had to say 3 words.
Well, the one you just said counts.
Okay.
So we're going to count that one as one.
Okay, that's one. I'm also really, really creative.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, everything I do is about creating. And then pretty sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a pretty sensitive guy, and that's another thing that the roles that I've played
absolutely do not show you to be sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, every role that I've played has been, a borderline misogynist. So.
But it's got to be kind of cool though to take something about yourself and to be able to act almost, because you have to get in character, the opposite of it. It's got to be, I don't want to use the word healing, but kind of in a little bit, right?
Because it's cathartic.
Yeah.
Actually, you can sort of, take your biggest fears, your biggest insecurities, and overcome them through the arc of a character.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So for those that are super interested in the skincare line, where do they buy it?
You buy it on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, neutralskin.com, Nutrl skin.com.
My last piece, I know I said that before, but if you could give advice to young actors going into the business now, if somebody, the advice you did not get, what would you give? What would you tell them? What do you wish somebody told you when you were entering?
You know, just like building a reputation.
Yeah.
It's all about choices. It's all about choices, and it's all about patience. I think you got to make the right choices, and in order to make the right choices, you got to have patience. That's not something I really had early in my career. So I tell someone that if they really want to have a big career and they really want to act and do work that they're proud of, they have to eat, sleep, and breathe the craft of acting, but they also have to make great choices, and they have to be patient and wait for the roles, wait for the right roles.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on. I
You got
appreciate it. It was
My pleasure.
great. And good
My
luck
pleasure.
with the skincare.
Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Thanks.